this is as inaccurate and as at risk of disinformation and misinformation as anything else we can find, on the internet or on social media.
Now, Microsoft has announced it's adding the technology behind ChatGPT, the world's most discussed AI system, to Office 365. It's calling the system Copilot, and it will be included in Word, Outlook, PowerPoint, and Excel. Well, let's speak now to Dex Hunter-Torek. He has worked with Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg in the past, and he also helped set up Meta's Oversight Board, which scrutinises Facebook and Instagram. Good morning, Dex.
Great to be here.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. First of all, for people who hear about ChatGPT but don't really know what it is, just remind us what it does.
Yeah, so ChatGPT is a AI-powered chatbot. What that is essentially a digital assistant that you can ask questions using natural language, the way you and I have a conversation, and it will be able to provide answers that provide a fairly convincing simulation of what a person might sound like. So you can ask it to go away and write you a piece of poetry or summarize an email for you. You can have it, pass an exam, very quickly. For example, after ChatGPT launched in November, students in New York started using it to cheat on school exams and essays. And the New York City school system had to pass regulations saying that kids were not allowed to use ChatGPT to do their homework. So it's something that has extraordinary potential. It was the fastest growing consumer application, we believe, ever. It got 100 million users in less than 2 months after launching. And in just the last few days, GPT-4 has launched, which is the underlying language model that has built this AI. It is something that is an upgraded version of ChatGPT, essentially.
So is it a good thing that Microsoft is including this in Word, Outlook, PowerPoint, and Excel, or do you have concerns?
Well, look, there's obviously tremendously exciting applications from being able to use AI for productivity. I mean, I think all of us have probably suffered through doing the drudgery of office work, having to, write, pro rata, emails, plow through very, very long presentations, synthesize information. These are things that AI can potentially help us do and, take away some of that, grunt work. But on the other hand, we should also be really, really cautious about deploying this technology. Just in the last decade, we have seen what it looks like when folks in the tech community move fast and break things. And with social media, we've seen what happens when insufficient care is paid to things like ethics, to developing technology in a responsible framework, which really understands what are the benefits of technology, but also the huge impacts and potentially unintended consequences that only become apparent when you look at them much more closely. And my concern here is that, obviously this is something that only released, to widespread, mass circulation in November. And it's something that now Microsoft is just racing to try and plug into all of their products, to try and gain a competitive advantage. And it's something I think we really need to look at more closely as a society, as business leaders, as governments, to understand how is this going to really transform work and society.
Give us some specific concerns and consequences you feel could come about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, one of the early sort of shortcomings of ChatGPT, which people understood very quickly, is that AI can provide you a pretty convincing set of answers to things. It can go through the simulation of providing knowledge. But actually, ChatGPT is a jack of all trades. It is a master of none. Actually, it turns out it's got very, very shallow understanding of a lot of things. So what you found is when people started asking lots of questions and really drilling down on topics, ChatGPT would end up making up facts or actually providing inaccurate information. If people are relying on these tools thinking, oh, my co-pilot is now an authoritative real co-pilot, in the same way that you might rely on a co-pilot to fly your plane if you're a pilot, they're going to be actually risking huge trouble if they then don't understand that this is as inaccurate and as at risk of disinformation and misinformation as anything else we can find, on the internet or on social media. The other thing is just poor quality work. The AI can help us quickly assemble things, but is it actually going to be truly additive to businesses? Is it really going to help advance knowledge and collaboration? that's something we're going to have to take time to find out. One of the examples in Microsoft's launch yesterday involved an executive using the new AI to synthesize response feedback on a presentation. And the AI wrote that it was really impressed by this presentation. The AI has absolutely no way of knowing if this person's impressed by the presentation or not. And they actually admitted that in this launch. And giving that kind of inauthentic feedback ends up having a big organizational and business cost in the aggregate.
Can I ask you briefly before I let you go? The British government is saying that workers have to delete TikTok from government devices. Do you think that's a safe and sensible thing to do?
Yes, I do. The British government is not the first to make this move. This is a move that's already been driven by the US, by India, by the European Union, by Canada. So we're a bit of laggards there. It is based on, as I understand, a specific security threat. So it is something that has been studied by the government and by the various agencies within the government. It is something I think that raises a bigger question, though, which is TikTok something safe for general use by the population? There's obviously a much larger conversation taking place in the United States and in other countries about whether we should be restricting access to that app more broadly because of the way it shares data potentially with Chinese authorities. So I think this is not the end of the debate about it. It's probably just the start.
Good to speak to you. Thank you for your time this morning. That is Dex Hunter-Torek. He worked with Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, giving us his latest thoughts on ChatGPT.